Hey, I'm gonna do part 2 of A Dog's Purpose Read Out Loud. There was less time for play now that we were hunting. Mother snarled when Hungry tried to lick her lips, hoping for a new meal, and we all got the message. We went out often, hiding from sight, desperately searched for food. My bad. I felt tired and weak now, and didn't even try to challenge Fast when he stood with his head over my back, thrusting his chest at me. Fine, let him be the boss. As far as I was concerned, my short legs were better suited for the low, slicking run our mother had taught us anyway. If Fast felt he was making some sort of point by using his height to knock me over, he was looting himself. He was fooling himself. Mother was the dog in charge. There was barely room for all of us underneath the tree now. My mother was gone for longer and longer periods of time. Something told me that one of these days she wouldn't come back. We would have to fend for ourselves. Fast was always pushing me out of the way, trying to take my share. Mother wouldn't be there to look after me. I began to think of what it would be like to leave the den. The day everything changed began when, with Hungry stumbling into the covert to lie down instead of going on the hunt. His breathing labored, his tongue sticking out of his mouth. Mother nuzzled Hungry before she left, and when I sniffed at him, his eyes remained shut. Over the covert was a road, and along the road we'd once found a large dead bird, which we all torn into until Fast picked it up and ran off with it. Despite the danger of being seen, we tended to rage up and down this road, looking for more birds, which was what we were doing when Mother suddenly raised her head in alarm. We all heard it in the same instant. A truck approaching, but not just any truck. The same vehicle making the same sounds had been back and forth along our road several times the past few days, moving slowly, even minutely, as if hunting specifically for us. We followed Mother as she darted back to the covert, but for reasons I'll never fully understand, I stopped and looked back at the monstrous machine, taking an extra few seconds before I followed Mother into safety of the tunnel. Those few seconds proved to make all the difference. They had spotted me. With a low, rumbling vibration, the truck came to a stop directly overhead. The engine clanked and went quiet, and then we heard the sounds of boots on gravel. My mother gave a soft whimper. When the human faces approached at either end of the covert, Mother went low, testing her eye. They showed their teeth at us, but it didn't seem to be a hostile gesture. Their faces were brown, marked with black hair, black brows, and dark eyes. "Here, boy," one of them whispered. I didn't know what it meant, but the call seemed as natural as the sound of wind, as if I had been listening to men speak my whole life. Both men had poles. I now saw poles with ropes looped on the end. They peered, threatening, and I felt Mother's panic boil over. Her claws scrambling, she bolted, her head down, aiming for the space between the legs of one of the men. The pole came down. There was a quick snap, and then my mother was twisting and jerking as the men hauled her out into the sunlight. Sister and I backed up, cowering while Fast growled her. His fur bristled on the back of his neck. Then it occurred to all three of us that while we were behind us all still blocked, the tunnel mouth in front of us was no longer clear. We darted forward. "Hey, there come!" the man behind us yelled. Once on the creek bed, we realized we didn't really know what to do next. Sister and I stood behind Fast. He wanted to be the boss, so okay, let him deal with this. There was no sign of Mother. The two men were on opposite banks, though each windling his pole, Fast dodging one, but then was snagged by the other. Sister took advantage of the melee to escape, her feet splashing the waters. She scrambled away, but I stood rooting, staring up at the road. A woman with long white hair stood there above us, her face wrinkled in kindness. "Here, puppy, it's okay. You'll be all right. Here, puppy," she said. I didn't run. I didn't move. I allowed the loop of a rope to slip over my face and tie in my neck. The pole guided me up the bank where the man seized me by the scuff of the neck. It's okay. He's okay. He's okay, the woman crooned. Let him go. He'll run off, the man warned. Let him go. I followed this bit of a dialogue without comprehension, only understanding that somehow the woman was in charge, though she was older and smaller than either of the two men. With a lurking grunt, the man lifted the rope off my neck. The woman offered her hands to me, rough, leathery palms coated with a flowery smell. I sniffed them, then lowered my head. A clear sense of caring and concern radiated off of her. When she ran her fingers along my fur, I felt a shiver pass through me. My tail whimpered the air of its own accord, and when she astonished me by lifting me into the air, I scrambled to kiss her face, delighted to her laughter. The mood turned somber when one of the men approached, holding Hungry's limp body. The man showed it to the woman, who clung mothering fully. Then he took it to the truck where Mother and Fast were in a mental cage, and held it out to their noses. The scent of death, recognizable to me as any memory, wafted off of Hungry in the dirt, dusty air. We all carefully smelled my dead brother, and I understood that the men wanted us to know what had happened to Hungry. Sadness came from all of them as they stood there silently in the road, but they didn't know how sick Hungry had been, sick with birth and not long for the cold, and not long for the world. I was put in the cage, and Mother sniffed disapprovingly at the woman's smell which had been pressed into my fur. With a lurch, the truck started up again, and I was quickly distracted by the wonderful odors flowing through the cage as we moved down the road. I was riding in a truck! I burst in delight. Fast and Mother were jerking their heads in surprise at my outburst. I couldn't help myself. It was the most exciting thing that had ever happened in my whole life, including almost catching the frog. Fast seemed overcome with sadness, and it took me a moment to understand. Sister, his favorite companion, was gone. As lost as to us as was Hungry. There was, I reflected, much more complete to the world than I had supposed. It wasn't just about Mother and my siblings. Hiding from people, hunting, playing the equivalent. Larger events had the ability to change everything. Events that were controlled by human beings. I was wrong about one thing, though. Though we didn't know it was the time, Fast and I would meet up with Sister again in the future. 2. Whenever we were headed on our truck ride, I had the sense we'd see other dogs when we got there. The cage in which we were being held was positively folded with the scent of other canines. Their urine, feces, and even their blood mixed with fur and saliva, while Mother cowered her claws intently to keep her from sliding on the pouncing, jerking floor. Fast and I paced our noses down, smelling one decent dog after another. Fast kept trying to mark the corners of the cage, but every time he tried to stand on 3 legs, a good jounce from the truck sent him sprawling. Once he even landed on Mother, earning him a quick nip. I gave him a disgusted look. Couldn't he see she was unhappy? Eventually, bored with smelling dogs who weren't even there, I pressed my nose to the wire gate and pulled in great snootfuls of wind. It reminded me of the first time I buried my face in the scuffling garbage bins that precipitated our main source of food. There were thousands of unidentifiable odors out there, all of them coming up my nose with such force I kept sneezing. Fast took up posting on the other side of the cage and lay down, not joining me at the side of the cage because it hadn't been his idea. He gave me a swirling look every time I sneezed. as if warning me that next time I tried, I'd better ask him for permission. Each time his cold gaze met my eyes, I would glance pointedly at Mother, who, though obviously cowed by this whole experience, was still in charge as far as I was concerned. When the truck stopped, the woman came around and spoke to us, pressing her palms to the side of the cage for us to lick. Mother stayed where she was, but Faz was as belligerent, beguiled as I was, and I stood next to me, his tail wagging. "You're so cute. You hungry, babies? You hungry?" We were parked in front of a long, flat-dwelled spare desert grass poking up between the truck's tires. "Hey, Bobby!" one of the men yelled. The response to his shout was astonished. From behind the house came a chorus of loud barks, so many I couldn't count the sources. Fast rose up on his back legs and put his paws on the inside of his cage, as if that would somehow help him see better. The rattling continued as another man emerged from another side of the house. He was brown and weathered, walking with a slight limp. The way the two men stood grinning at him, carrying an air of expectation. When he saw us, he stopped in his tracks, his shoulders slumped. "Oh no, Scenario, not more dogs. We have too many now," he rated with sentiment I regret, but there was nothing angry in what I felt coming off. The woman turned and approached him. "We have 2 puppies and their mother. They were maybe 3 months old. One of them got away and one of them died." "Oh no." The mother was feral. "Poor thing, she's terrified. You know what they told her the last time? We have too many dogs and they will not give us a license." "I don't care. But Sonora, we have no room." "Now, Bobby, you know that's not true. And what can we do? Let them live as wild animals? They're dogs, Bobby. Little puppies, you see." The woman turned back to the cage and I wagged my tail to show her I had been playing rapt if oncoming attention. "Yeah, Bobby, what's another 3 more? One of the grinning men asked. "One of these days there will be no more money to pay you. It will all go to dog food," the men called Bobby replied. The men just shrugged, grinning. "Carlos, I want you to take some fresh hamburger and go back out there to that creek. See if you can find the one that got away," the woman said. The woman nodded. Laughing at Bobby's expression, I understood that the woman was in charge of this family of humans, and gave her another lick on the hand so she would like me best. "Oh, you're a good dog, she told me. I jumped up and down, my tail wagging so hard it looked fast in the face, who terribly blinked it off. The one called Charles smelled of spicy meat and exotic oils that I couldn't identify. He reached in with a pole, snagging Mother and Fast, and I followed, wiggling as she was led around the side of the house to a large fence. The barking here was deafening. I felt a slight flicker of fear. Just what were we getting into? Bobby's scent had a curious quality, organs as well as dirt, leather and dogs. He opened the gate a little, blocking the way with his body. Get back now, get back, go on," he urged. The barking lessened just a little, and when Bobby pulled the gate all the way open, and Charles thrust Mother forward and increased complete, I was so astonished by what greeted me, I didn't even feel the foot in my back as Bobby pushed me inside the enclosure. Dogs. There were dogs everywhere. Several were as large as, or even larger than Mother, and some were smaller, and all were milling freely around in a large enclosure, a large yard surrounded by a high wooden fence. I scrambled forward toward a friendly-looking dog. A friendly-looking dog not much older than myself, halting just as I got to them to pretend to be fascinated by something on the ground.